Sauce.
Hey, you like Pez?
It looks like that. Here's Heaney from the boundary line. He's an expert at these. From the boundary line!
Hello and welcome to Behind the Boundary podcast. I'm your host Pez. I'm here with Sauce and you're here for the Cheeky Punt podcast. Now, hopefully Sauce is in a better mood this week because he did have a positive return on investment, which is good. I thought you were a little bit somber last week in the betting review, Sauce.
Yeah, thanks, Pez. I was a little bit somber during the review, but during the bet slip, I definitely found my form and I was up and about.
You always do. You can't lose in the bet slip.
And Pez, I'm feeling up and about. I am a little bit somber though, Pez, because I had a really big loss on the weekend. Really, really big loss.
Yeah?
My cheeky.
Oh, yeah.
It was guaranteed to get up and all three legs failed.
I could not believe it. I spoke to you many times throughout the weekend, including on the podcast, and I said, mate, you got no chance in that one. And you just said, yep, it's a green tick, guaranteed money. And I said, mate, I've already got the red cross on the graphic. You said, well, you're going to look very silly. And I said, well, all right, I'll speak to you after the game then.
Yeah, and you didn't speak to me after the game, so you still looked silly because you weren't a man of your word. And no, it was one of those ones where Pez, it got to the end of the round. It was the last game on the Sunday, and I'm like, I don't have a bet here. I need to put my cheeky down.
At least
and there was no value. At least I had a crack.
All right, that's all good. We'll get into our betting review.
Soft review. It's no official review. How does it end? We don't know. They've kind of lost, but they've won as well.
All right, and this is the review for AFL season and round 5.
I'm glad we're doing the AFL season there, Pez. I was a little bit upset we might have been going into the NBL or the NRL.
I was thinking of just going NRL a little bit, winning too much in the AFL. I thought I'd give myself a challenge.
Moving ship.
Try and go from there. I'm not on the ship, actually. You're still on the ship, though.
I can see that island, though. I'm not far away.
Let's get into round 5. I staked $185. I returned $284.64 for a return on investment of 53.85%, which is scintillating for a round. Very, very good. Total for the year, staked $955, returned $1,281.84 for a return on investment of 34.22%, which I love where I'm sitting at the moment after 5 rounds.
Yeah, so you should, Pez. Round 5, cracked the gorilla on the return, the $1,000. You got over the threshold there. You didn't have much to go last round though, to get over, but did crack your first gorilla, the first gorilla of the year. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I just like that I've returned more than I've staked, and 34%. I love sitting at the top of that hotel.
Yeah, well, as all the viewers know, I like a bit of a challenge, and I like to set myself up for a challenge because winning is just too easy. And we did consider in the off season.
You never say that in punting. You can't say that in punting.
No, but for round 5, I actually had a winning round, and I say actually because I've been not in great form early on, and I've slowly been climbing back, but not quick enough for my likings. I can see the island that Pez is building. It's starting to look like a 7-story resort, but I can see it. I staked 155 for round 5, returned at 212.50, a ROI of 37.09%, which is pretty good, Pez. That's handy. What you're doing for the whole year, about 30%.
No, handy little round.
Handy little round. It was a good one. Would have been even more handy if my cheeky got up, so that's why I'm a little bit somber, because it should have been green ticks all around. But for the year, I've staked $895 and returned $882.13, just falling short with an ROI of minus 1.43%.
All right, so just before we get into the games, a little bit of a question without notice. There's been 5 rounds of the premiership season. You feel like we might be getting a bit of a read on it. How long do you think it usually takes to be able to have a great read on all teams?
Oh, it's funny, actually. I said this to you before, Pez. I said about round 6, I think, is where you really can sort of see where teams are faced, because early on in the year, generally the teams that are going to be poor for the rest of the year, they're up and about. Their lists are still young, and they haven't fatigued. They see themselves as a chance against most sides, so they get a couple of sneaky, easy wins there. By round 5, you sort of picked, all right, these are the top half of the ladder, this is the bottom half of the ladder, and you can sort of start to pick some of those matchups. I think this round here is going to be really important for punting, because you'll be able to know the teams to stay away from. you'll be able to know the teams that are pretty decent, and if they are the real deal, there's a couple of teams this week that are being tested, and you'll be able to really place them against the barometer, I guess, for punting and see if, teams like Melbourne, are they the real deal? Teams like, the Bulldogs coming up against probably a decent sort of competitor with GWS that's finding form. You can find out that if Richmond are going to put it into cruise control for the year, you can ask some questions about some of those other teams.
The Richmond line source has come in from about 13.5 to down to 5.5. So it's like there's a belief in Melbourne there, but if you believe in Richmond, you can get a really handy price and a bit of value if you actually think Richmond's going to win. Speaking about that, we do need to go through round 5, and St Kilda versus Richmond was our first game in round 5. Now, I didn't have a bet in this and didn't enjoy the game at all.
No, it was one of those games that promised a lot, actually. St Kilda returned to form last week, and Richmond have been sort of staggering, back-to-back losses for the first time in a while, and they looked a little bit underwhelming in the last couple of weeks, but that was not the case this round, Pez. They absolutely got off to a flyer from the second quarter, and from then they basically walked it out of the centre into the goal square and just piled on goals. What was the final margin in the end there, Pez?
86 points, I'm pretty sure, after I woke up from a fourth quarter snooze.
Yeah, well, at least someone woke up in that fourth quarter, because St Kilda were not that, and that's why my 3-leg same-game multi was a red cross there, Pez. Did escape with a bonus bet, thank goodness. I got the line wrong, plus 14.5. Hunter Clark and Jack Steele both got 20 disposals, so $20 bonus bet that I'm going to use this week somewhere on my bet slip.
Yeah, hopefully.
Free money.
Hopefully you get a win on that. If you get a return, that's money earned. All right, the next game was West Coast versus Collingwood on a Friday night. I did have a bet in this one. I had West Coast 1-39, and I was a little bit worried that it might go 40 plus. And then Collingwood started off on fire. We're up by about 3 goals. And I thought, if West Coast are going to win it, we go from here. De Goey went off in concussed, and then Jeremy Howe went down with a hamstring, and you thought, Collingwood aren't going to be able to keep up here. And they did come back and have a little bit of fight in that fourth quarter, but nothing too pretty, and West Coast won pretty comfortably, and that bet won comfortably, so a return of $56.25 from $25.
Yeah, speaking of comfortably, that's exactly what my 3-leg same-game multi did, mate. He got it in absolutely easy. I had Tim Kelly for 20, he got 28. Jack Redden, who for 20... should have put him for 25. Should have put him for 30. He ended up with 37 in the end.
Should have put him for 35.
He looked absolutely amazing. And I had the overs 159.5, and it got up to 179. So that was a pretty easy bet for that for me. I returned $50 in that one.
Yeah, shit it in on a $2.50 same game multi. So that's
a little ripper.
Nice bet there, Sauce. Next game was the Bulldogs up against the Suns, at least for the second half or some of the third quarter. In this game, I had over 170.5 points, and I was a little bit worried when Gold Coast hadn't kicked a goal with less than a minute left in the first half. I thought, come on, I'm going to need you to give me a little bit of help here, Gold Coast.
30 seconds to go, and they're on 3 points.
They did come out and kick a good score not a great score, but enough score in the end, and the game points got over, and I had the max 50 on it, returned 94. I was very happy.
Yeah, very happy. Just like a lot of Bulldog supporters would have been with that. There are a lot of Bulldog supporters, and this is what I'm talking about, Pez. Round 5. Round 5 is where teams are like, yep, we're good. Next week will be a big test for the Bulldogs, because they really haven't beaten anyone, and they've been absolutely shitting in it, as you said earlier. And piling up big scores, it'll be interesting to see if they can get out of cruise control, because they haven't been challenged yet, and they've been doing it pretty easy.
That's the thing. And Bulldogs, if their challenge isn't this week against GWS and they get through that comfortably, their challenge will be in round 7 when they take on Richmond. We'll see how that goes. The next game was the Battle of the Bridge, the Sydney Swans versus GWS Giants. And I thought this was very interesting, Sauce. If you told me that Buddy kicks 5 and Toby Green kicks 1 goal 7, I'd say that Sydney win pretty comfortably there. But the Giants got the win by 2 points.
Yeah, Josh Kelly goal with very not Kelly-like, sorry, very Nick Davies-like.
You keep mentioning Nick Davis.
Nick Davis, mate. It was a great goal, and it put a stamp in history, Pez. You've got to respect the great goals. I don't know why you don't want to talk about history.
I do want to talk about it. You just had to crack the shits the other week when I tried to bring up Nick Davis.
Only because you made me listen to that sound clip over and over again when we were trying to make the thing. But anyway, Josh Kelly snags one around the body off a little set play down in the forward line. It was a bit disappointing to watch, actually. There were so many Sydney players standing around watching that sort of develop, and it was very disappointing. And as you said, Sydney were very lucky to actually be in this game because GWS, highly inaccurate. The skipper, 1 goal 7, and up into the last quarter had 6 straight behinds. He kicked that goal in the last quarter, and could you see the concentration on his face, mate? It was absolutely stellar.
Imagine you had him for 4 goals or 3 goals. Imagine you had him for 2 goals to win like a big same game multi or something, and he kicks 1 goal 7. He was very happy though because they got their second win of the season, second in a row, and they broke my bet because I had Sydney to win 1-39, $25 stake, and it lost with that Nick Davis like goal.
Yeah, lucky I just went really basic with my same game multi. I only had a nice basic $2 odds. Papley to kick a goal, Josh Kelly to get 20, and Jordan Dawson to get 20, and all of those did it pretty easily. So doubled up there, $40 return pairs.
You've done all right on
$20 profit.
2 Tab same game multis and over $2 and 2 easy wins. So maybe we'll see something in round 6 from you from Tab. The next game was Carlton versus Port Adelaide, and could not believe after we recorded this pod what was happening with the line on this one. So I got Port Adelaide at $1.69, and so did you, Sauce. We both had
I wanted to do a live bet because just on the same bet, double up.
We both had the max on it, and I actually saw them go out to 204, and that's Port Adelaide. So Carlton actually came into favourites on all bookies that I saw.
I don't understand that.
I don't know who's throwing money at Carlton or why they thought they would beat Port Adelaide, but Carlton were very, very poor on the night. Their skills inside forward 50 were very shocking, and Port Adelaide were just damaging with so many great players and great runners.
There was, if you believed like we did, Pez, Port Adelaide to win, there was so much value in this. They won every quarter, which they won not only with the individual quarter winners, they won wire to wire, they won the line in each quarter. You could have done a halftime line, full-time line. You could have done so many things with Port Adelaide. I love it when the bookies get it wrong, Pez. The only thing I didn't love is that we recorded the show so early in the week and we had the 169 odds.
But in that time, in that moment,
you had to take it.
I thought 169 was overs for them because I thought 100%. Port Adelaide should have been around $1.48, $1.50 to win down at the MCG away. And I still would have probably taken that as well. But to get $2 at the end, that was pretty good. But we only got it at $1.69 here on the pod, and $50 returned, $84.50 for both of us. Sauce, we'll take that win and we'll move on to the next game.
Yeah, speaking of moving on to the next game, I'm so glad that I steered clear of this game, Pez. It was absolutely torrential rain in Brisbane for half a game. Did you watch the game in terms of the slip and slide in the middle of that ground? It wasn't even when people were crashing. It was just literally like walking, and it was, boom, water flying everywhere.
You see the ball when it just bounces on the floor.
And it just dies.
all the water just going around. But you didn't have a bet in this one, Sauce, but I had my Cheeky, and I liked my Cheeky before this, and then I saw the telecast, and all their jumpers are soaking wet, torrential rain. We saw the state of the ground. And I had 25 to 26 goals, and I was like, yeah, it's probably not going to happen at the start of the game there. So, Cheeky, no good.
No, you didn't get far off, though. You got 21 goals. 21 goals is not bad. It was only 5 goals off, and Brisbane were highly inaccurate with 15 goals, 12. So you weren't far off there, Pez.
Yeah, but the weather didn't help, but I didn't know it was going to be torrential rain, but that's the risk you take when you punt on that early in the week. So if you are going to punt on something like that and you want to be a little bit more careful, you just wait closer to the day. You check the weather, the radars, see how they're going in Brisbane or Adelaide, wherever the game's being played.
Yeah, and as you'll see with my next bet as well, Pez, it's one of those things that you take in terms of the lines and the overs and all those things that you don't factor in earlier in the week. So the team lists, obviously in key injuries, weather, anything else that comes up. In the next game, I picked Freo plus 7.5 at the line, and that ended up coming into about 4.5. Towards Fremantle, obviously, and 7.5 was really great for me because it was a pretty close game. They didn't win it until that last quarter. So I capped off with a win.
It seemed like an absolute bargain when you got 7.5 and we're looking at 4.5 just before the game. And Fremantle did what they needed to do. Adelaide didn't have Sloan. Tex actually hurt his calf. I don't know if it was in the second quarter or the third quarter, Sauce. Yeah. But he didn't not look good in that second half. And I don't know if he'll be travelling to Tasmania this week. But Fremantle, Nathan Fyfe, David Mundy, that's a fourth quarter to remember. Rory Lobb in front of the sticks was absolutely no good. But you had the plus 7.5, had 20 on that, return 38. Sunday game for me, no bet for me. So we go from there. The next game was a really interesting one, both no bet, Sauce. It was Hawthorn versus Melbourne. Hawthorn were with them for 3 quarters. They were 5 points down, And then if you turned your head, blinked your eyes, you look back, they're 50 points down, they lose by 50.
They piled on 8 goals in that last quarter and 4 behind. So they had 12 scoring shots to 4 in that last quarter. And yeah, and that, we spoke about this in the pre-game, Pez, that Hawthorn, we don't know if Melbourne are the real deal yet. And this was a real big test for them. I think they went into the game, reading their own press a little bit. And Hawthorn are a team that haven't been blown out of any game this year. They've sort of stuck around a lot of the game through game plan. It was a danger game for Melbourne, most definitely. But that fourth quarter, wow. Wow.
Well, one thing for me, I'm watching Melbourne pretty closely this season, been to 2 of their live game source, is Max Gawn. Now, always talk about Max Gawn and his All-Australians and things like that. I think he's actually improving because his positioning behind the ball and the way he gets there and takes his overhead marks is going really, really well for Melbourne. So if he can keep that going, they've got Petrarca, who's on absolute fire. Clayton Oliver playing well in there. Their forward line seems to be working, but they've got Wiedemann and Ben Brown in the VFL to try and fit into that forward line as well. So interesting to see them over the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Totally agree with you, Pez. I think these are more of the stats that you would want to see from an All-Australian ruckman. 1 goal, 2. You probably want to have that maybe 2 goals, 1. 26 disposals, 10 marks. As you said, a lot of them were sort of intercept marks, and then 24 hitouts as well. Like, that's more of an All-Australian line rather than 70 hitouts, no goals, 2 intercept marks, and, 10 touches. Like, I think that's the ruckman that you would prefer to see, and that's more of a 90s ruckman where they can go forward, kick some goals, they play any position. Well, that's more suited for him.
If Max keeps hitting the scoreboard, he's going to earn that All-Australian jacket or whatever they get, which would be really good for him because he hasn't earned one yet, I don't think. The final game was the Cats taking on North Melbourne. North Melbourne led this at quarter time source, 19-9. It wasn't a highly skilled or competitive game, really. Geelong winning comfortably in the end, but wasn't a great watch for the observer.
No, North Melbourne really, really bought a scrappy brand of football, and Geelong have been out of form as of recent or the whole of this year. But Geelong did dominate the game, and Geelong just played down to their opposition, and they just didn't take advantage of the things that they shouldn't have. They should have taken advantage. They won the clearances. They lost the hitouts by about 30. But for me...
we know they don't have a ruckman, and they should have Todd Goldstein.
They should have Todd Goldstein, and he was very very damaging against Geelong. But it was just, the shots on goal. Like, Geelong dominated. They had 27 shots on goal to North Melbourne's 12, and they should have gotten a lot closer to my Cheeky than they actually did.
Oh, yeah. After
that first quarter, I was like, damn.
Mate, first 5 minutes, you thought, oh, are they going to get to 104? Probably not. They won by, about 5 goals, around 30 points in the end. And Hawkins did not kick 5.
No, it was no to over 179.5 as the over-under. Obviously, it was no to the minus 104.5, which I still think is a bargain. Tom Hawkins kick 5 didn't do it. The only thing I won is Geelong won most quarters in the game. They won 3 out of the 4.
The second, third, and fourth quarter. So you go from there and take that in the end. We go to our multi, and you might talk about your multi first, Sauce, because you've got a Red Cross.
Yeah, Red Cross for the Sauce multi that I've been doing, which it's the first week I've sort of really failed and got it wrong. So the St Kilda plus 30.5, we know what happened there. Gold Coast plus 32.5, we know what happened there. And then Port Adelaide plus 19.5. This is still crazy. Plus 19.5, $1.21 on its own. That's a bargain, absolute bargain.
Put your house on that one.
So a total loss to that one there, Pez. So over to you.
Yeah, that's all right. I had my little 4-leg Sauce multi, as you like to call it. 25 staked on this one. Had West Coast plus 1.5 easily. Bulldogs plus 1.5 easily. Port Adelaide plus 7.5, pretty easy. And then Brisbane plus 11.5, very easy as well. So a sweat-free multi at just shy of $2. So return 49.89, and we can look forward now to round 6.
The fact that the size of the bets was relatively small.
Now bets with an opportunity about 50 metres out.
I was with a mate, and we were getting sort of ready to leave, and he said, I think I'm going to whack 10 on Maxi. Do you want some as well? And I said,
Oh yes, yes, yes. Cyril takes a special and goes bang.
What are you doing to me?
Straight into it, Pez. I'm not giving you any time to think. I'm not giving you any time to weasel your way out of doing the specials. I listened to the tape, Pez. You didn't do it last week, so
I like that you didn't hit that. This week, the first goal in first 2 minutes, you get paid out on head-to-head. It's only for the Friday night match, the GWS Brisbane at Sportsbet. But Sportsbet have bought out up to 3 refunds per match on the same game multis. So 3+ leg same game multis must be $2 or more. You get up to 3 refunds per match. So that's pretty decent. With also, I messaged you during the week, Source, the 15+ disposal market is back.
It's back.
So I don't know if you've got any in there. I don't, if that's a spoiler alert, but yeah.
Well, the 15 disposal market used to be really good because you could get players that would normally average 20 in there, and you could get them at the $9, $8 mark, $10 mark. But now that, as we've been speaking about, the odds for some of these 20 disposals are just ridiculous. One of the things I'll talk about a little bit later in the Geelong game is the odds are just unrealistic in these games. What they've done with the 15 disposal mark, they're putting a lot of the ruckmen in there. They're generally your favourite. And then there's a lot of players that just aren't getting a lot of the football. They're averaging under 15 anyway.
Some of your backmen that are actually defenders and things like that. So have a look, see if you can find any value, because sometimes you can, to just boost that same game multi up a bit. But we'll see what happens. Neds are offering $2 lines on GWS or Bulldogs, so not too much going on there at the moment. Tab have 3+ leg same game multis only for the Friday game and the 3 Sunday games on Anzac Day. So they're just taking out all 5 games on the Saturday, which I don't know, why can't they just do it for the whole time? And I think that's about it, Source. I didn't check our mates down at PointsBet because they've pissed me off. And I know they've pissed you off as well. So
they haven't pissed me off. Man, they're dead to me.
Yeah, so am I. That's why I didn't check them.
They don't even piss me off anymore. I don't even think about them. They're dead to me.
I don't know why it's still an app on my phone. I'm just having a look now. I should probably delete that, actually.
I think I've still got like $50 in there because I refuse to bet it with them. I know I should just pull it out. I don't think I can pull it out, but I refuse to bet it.
Yeah, we'll stuff them anyway. And if you aren't banned from promotions, please do try and take advantage of it, because we love it when anyone can take advantage of the bookies. Just don't be like Sauce and give them all your money.
Well, let's get on to the Friday night game pairs. A little bit disappointing they don't have a Thursday night game. As you spoke, 5 games on a Saturday, 2 at the exact same time, and we can't do a Thursday night football. I don't understand that anyway, but
it is disappointing. I don't know if it does. You did mention Anzac Day. Anzac Day's on the Sunday. I don't know if it's a pre-Anzac Day. They want to have 5 teams on there. But just for people actually watching the game, you can't watch 2 games. Well, you can.
No, you can't.
But you can have them on.
No, you can't enjoy. You can't enjoy 2 games of footy.
But the broadcasters, the TV rights deal. If you had a game on Thursday night, everyone's watching the footy on a Thursday night, and then that game is a standalone on a Saturday. Whoever's going to watch that game is watching that game anyway. So you actually get more revenue if you're the AFL if you put a Thursday night game. Yeah,
and you risk having, obviously, if you've got 2 games at once, one Channel 7, one Foxtel, one of the games is going to lose out. Like it's not a good marketing strategy for the televisors.
Well, I think in the future, Behind the Boundary might have to be in charge of not the fixturing, just the times and the days of the.
I thought you were going to say once we win a couple of multis and a couple of cheekies, we're going to put a bid in for the television rights.
Well, I might be able to.
You've got your own island there, Pez. You can at least stream some of the games.
I might need your help here, Sauce. So swim up,
all right,
washed up ashore, and head into round 6.
I'll bring my A game. All right, we'll start things off with the Friday night game, as we said. Thursday football not available to us, so that's where we're doing the pod on the Thursday. We've got GWS at 3.20 taking on the Bulldogs as clear favourites at $1.35. The line is 19.5 favouring the Bulldogs, and the over-under is 154.5. Pez, are the Bulldogs the real deal? Is it 19.5 dime warranted?
Is it down to 19.5, is it?
19.5's come down from 20?
Came in a point, all right. I'm not sure about the real deal, Source, because I'm still worried about their defence and their forwards. Yes, they've done all right. The big downfall for them is Josh Bruce kicking 10 goals against North Melbourne, because it's going to be hard to drop him and bring somebody else in to take his place. I think their midfield keep having to run the ball into 50 and kick goals. Can they keep doing that? Now, if they can and they finish in the top 4, that's great. I think they might get found out in finals later in the year if it does come down to that with this game style, if you've got the pressure of a Richmond-like. So after round 7, I think we'll know if the Bulldogs are the real deal, because they play the Richmond Tigers and Richmond will be ready to put these teams on notice. We've got Melbourne, who are undefeated, Source. We've got Bulldogs, who are undefeated. Richmond take them on the next 2 weeks. They lost 2 games this season that they probably shouldn't have, and they might just say, you know what, we're going to show the AFL that we're still here and we're ready to go. So this game, I don't love it for a betting standpoint, too much, Source, but I have gone a little bit
Cheeky.
just because I didn't love it, so I'll throw my cheeky 10 at this game and enjoy that tomorrow night. So I've gone the Bulldogs to win 1-39 in a same game multi, under 154 points. So a close style game and a bit of a scrappy game over there. Toby Green to kick 2+ goals. So he kicked 1-7 last week. Surely he can snag 2. And the very, very cheeky, because I did, when I got the cheeky a couple of weeks ago, Source, I had the Bulldogs first scoring players are behind against the Brisbane Lions down in Ballarat. But this time I've got the first scoring play to be a Bulldogs goal. So if that does happen, that gives me $15. I did a little 1.08 multiplier on Tab. And 150 return if that gets up, and that'd be a great start to the round.
That would be a great start, Pez. And I like your bet because it allows my bet to get up as well. I sort of agree with what you said about the Western Bulldogs here. If they can get away from teams, and they can sort of stream forward and kick goals, and them having a forward line is still a bit of a concern. But to me, the teams they've played Collingwood and they blew them out of the water. Well, they actually didn't blow them out of the water, but
no, it was less than 3 goals.
Collingwood seems to be a struggling team. They beat West Coast in a game at Marvel, again, at Marvel. Yep. And West Coast probably should have put them away in that third quarter.
Could have gone either way.
North Melbourne, we're not going to talk about. Brisbane, they beat in Ballarat.
Yeah, after not going home for a week.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
And GWS, they beat at Marvel again. So this
they haven't beaten GWS yet.
Gold Coast. The Gold Coast they beat away. So they actually haven't travelled.
And a Gold Coast that's got a lot of injuries as well, Source.
Yep, so this will be their first interstate trip of the year. The first time they're travelling away from Marvel and Melbourne and Victoria. So I'm actually with the Giants here in a 3-leg same game multi. As you said, the line came in a half. I jumped on a little bit earlier today, got him at 20.5. Jacob Hopper to get 20 disposals and Josh Kelly to kick a goal. He's kicked 1 in every game. He's should be able to get free. That gives me nice odds of $3.40, and I've whacked 20 on that one, Pez. And you know what? And happy to eat my words if the Bulldogs come out and absolutely thump the GWS and they are the real deal. I just don't believe that they've beaten anyone yet, and their next month is going to be really telling. And I think it starts with GWS and beating them if they are the real deal. But I think GWS have last year's grudge match in there where they absolutely got pounced on their home turf in the back of their mind.
Yeah, I hope GWS don't come out.
God, I hope they don't do that again.
And just try and go after the Bont and go after every single player and be aggressive, because it didn't work last time. You actually got embarrassed last year. So just come out and try and play footy. I think Toby Green should take over the captaincy as well, because he has shown that he is the heart of that club. And when he's been the captain, they've won the past 2 weeks. And Canelio being out with that injury, he'll be the captain for a long while yet. So we'll hope for a good game on a Friday night and move into Saturday, where Geelong take on West Coast at GMHBA.
Yeah, the first of 2 1:45 time slots. The first one, we'll go with the Geelong game. It is at GMHBA Stadium. Geelong come in favourites, $1.54. West Coast, $2.49. The line is -10.5 favouring the Cats, and the over-under for total game points is 159.5. Quite low, I think, actually, there, Pez.
The total game points, 159?
159.5.
Yeah, pretty low. What I've done is... speaking about the game first, I think Jeremy Cameron is rumoured to play.
Yeah, he's $1.08 on Sportsbet to kick a goal. Hasn't played a game all year.
Hasn't played for Geelong yet.
Yeah.
Interesting thing, Dangerfield.
Yeah, his ankle surgery must have gone really well.
Because he's still on the Sportsbet market.
$1.36 to kick a goal.
So
where's the no market?
It's only because he's going to rest up forward, because his ankle might still be a bit sore.
He'll be on bloody crutches.
But,
maybe if he was playing North Melbourne last week, he can probably justify that one. But
unless they're pulling the wool over everyone's eyes, I don't think Dangerfield is going to be playing. So that's another big loss for Geelong there. They really need to turn their season around, because they did get the win last week against North Melbourne, but they need to win these other games against good competition. And I'll rate West Coast Eagles as good competition. No Luke Shuey, no Elliot Yeo, as he's been out all year. But their forward line with Oscar Allen, really impressive last week, and Jack Darling. Josh Kennedy is playing a great season as a decoy. as that decoy forward. And when he does get the ball, he's a beautiful shot at goal. So West Coast there. Shannon Hearn should come back in. Tom Barras going across that back line, really, really impressive. And Rotham, who, if there was a most improved or whatever for the first 5 rounds, I reckon I'd give it to him because he's been absolutely outstanding. For my bet source, I've gone a 2-leg same-game multi on Tab. I've gone under 187.5 points, an alternate line, because I don't think it's going to get that high with Geelong's game style down at GMHBA, a couple of other factors. And I'm actually gone West Coast plus 10.5 because list versus list, I know the travel factor in the GMHBA is what's making the market swing towards Geelong. If this was at a neutral ground, I think you'd be nearly even or West Coast just a little bit in front. So West Coast plus 10.5 with that will get me $2.20 odds, and I'll put $20 on it.
Yeah, a little confused with this line when it first came out with 10.5. I think that's very generous, for either team, realistically. Geelong to be favourites. I think their game should probably be a little bit more, as you said, Pez, probably a little bit more $1.90 odds either way. I think the over-under is extremely low. But because of the uncertainty in the game and a little bit confused about the market, especially with Dangerfield in there to kick a goal, I put him in there to kick 7. No, just joking. I had a 3-leg same-game multi with Sportsbet. I've just gone really basic here. Tommy Stewart to get 20 disposals. He is penciled in every week to do that. I've got Tommy Atkins with the 15 or more disposals there, Pez. So Tommy Atkins had 19, 22, 17, 25 and 15. That should be pretty clear-cut.
So you found something in the 15s.
Yep, and I've also gone with Reece Stanley. So this is probably my riskier one of the 3. Reece Stanley's had 14, 22, 15, 10 and 24.
And 2 15 markets.
2 15 markets. I think Sam DeConey, he'll get another run last week. He looked all right for a debutant, a taller sort of player. That'll allow Reece Stanley to play more away from the hit-outs and more of his, I guess, more of that sort of backman that they've been trying to mould him into. I think that he'll be able to get 15 touches. That gives me odds of $2.05 and I've put 20 on it.
Well, there you go. And best of luck with that. But that's the other factor, isn't it? Nat Nui against the Geelong no ruckman. So
yeah,
whichever midfield can get on top and give their forwards a bit of value up there, I think they can get the job done and get the win.
Before you actually jump into the next round there, Pez, Nick Naitanui on his own to get 15 disposals against a team with no ruckman is $2.20. I'm a Geelong supporter, so I'm probably not going to have a play on that on the pod, but tell you what, Pez, that is good value considering he's averaging probably about 13 touches. I think he's had one round where he's had 11. He hasn't hit the 15 threshold this year, but Geelong give up possessions to ruckman. We've seen it against Max Gawn had 22. Riley O'Brien had probably 10 or 11. You're looking at Goldstein, he had probably 11 or 12. I think it's good value.
Well, Nick Naitanui for 15. If he can, I don't know, have to get behind the ball, maybe get his own clearance from his own tap work, maybe 3 or 4 times, and get over that 15 mark. 220. That's a little bit juicy for you out there. So if you want to have a play at that, get to that. So after that, we'll get to the next game, Gold Coast versus Sydney.
Yeah, the other 145 time slot, as you mentioned. Gold Coast, $2.14. Outsiders to Sydney, $1.71. The line here is minus 5.5. The over-under is huge. It's over-under 172.5. Pez, I don't understand these odds either. I think Sydney are the clear-cut favourite for this game. And $1.71 I think is absolute bargain.
Yeah, I know Tom Hickey went down, so he's probably going to get replaced with, you'd say, maybe Callum Sinclair, something like that, who might come back in if he's fit.
Still more ruckman than Gold Coast, Scott.
Exactly right. Gold Coast are struggling. They're missing a few key players as well. Will Sydney also rest Buddy and not send him up to Queensland as well? Because he did rest in the Richmond game where they came out and still won. And I'm not sure if he's going to rest or not. We'll find out tomorrow night. With that, so
I think it's been confirmed, but he's out. He's out for a month or something.
Did something happen to him last week after 5 goals?
He's out.
Well, there you go. If he is out, that's why the money might be up around $1.70. Up at Metricon in the afternoon, so it should be decent weather. You're not going to get the torrential rainfall up in Queensland there. But I've gone a bit of a doubles market. I've gone Sydney minus 7.5, and the total game score to be over 171.5 because Sydney have wanted to score quickly and score lots of goals this year. So they'll be trying to do that through their midfield and what they have left up forward. So I like that at $3.40. I've put $25 on that one.
Pez, you and I are on the exact same sort of mindset. I've gone Sydney minus 9.5. Pick your own line. $2, and I've just whacked the max on it, $50. I think they can get that done. I think that's a very low line as it is for -5.5. I think it should be up probably about the 15.5 mark as it is. I know Franklin going down has been a reason that has probably come in a lot. But even without Franklin, they've got a lot of scoring power. They've got many forwards there. They're playing against another young side as well, so the experience, they're actually probably going to be one of the more experienced teams out there. I think Sydney can get this done pretty easy.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement there. And then we move to the twilight game on Saturday.
We do. We've got Carlton versus Brisbane. Another interesting one here. Another head scratcher, really. Carlton 2 weeks in a row. I just don't understand what the Bookies are doing. Either way, they've put them pretty close as outsiders. $2.12 to Brisbane's $1.73. The line again, -5.5. Over under 173.5. Pez, is this back-to-back weeks that the Bookies have got this wrong?
Look, I think they have. I don't know. I know Brisbane haven't had the best start to the season. Their disposal's been quite poor. Lachie Neale played himself into form last week. They've got Joe Danaher up forward, Eric Hipwood. Players like this. Jared Lyons is super impressive through that midfield. And Daniel Rich really controlling the ball and kicking it from the back. You look at Carlton last week. If you watch that game, you're not going to bet on Carlton. You're not going to bet them to get within 5 points of the Brisbane Lions because their disposal was so poor. They're still playing Levi Casbolt up there. I just don't get it for Carlton. They've got Jack Martin who's sitting on the sidelines still. I don't think he's back yet. So Carlton 212, 173. I think this should be more in the Brisbane Lions' favour. Definitely, because they were -7.5 earlier in the week, Source, and I really wanted to jump on that, but waited a little bit. And on the pod here, I'll put the max 50. Brisbane -5.5. How can I not?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Pez. I think the line -7.5, when I saw that early in the week, I'm like, that is grouse. And I learnt from my mistake last week, and I didn't jump on that. And I'm glad I didn't, because -5.5 means everything else comes in as well. I haven't gone in with that exact same bet, Pez. I've gone with, I put down my bonus bet for this game. So I had a $20 bonus bet, as we know. I've gone Brisbane head-to-head at the $1.73, and I've paired that up with the quarter-time line of -1.5. That gets me odds of 250. That's a pretty straightforward one. I should get $30 profit winnings. Should be great.
Wow, so Brisbane just have to be leading by 2 points or more at quarter time and then win the match.
Yeah,
that's very decent at 250 there. You think they'll come out firing? Carlton have a lot to prove, but when have Carlton ever come out and proved anything really?
Yeah, they're normally a slow starting team, Carlton as it is, and well, they're taken up to round 5 and they still haven't fired, so very slow starting. But
they play behind the 8 ball. But
I don't know why the Bookies keep trusting them.
They beat Gold Coast 2 weeks ago, and then they're playing Port Adelaide, who are going to finish top four. Yeah.
And they had only lost one game.
Probably top 2. Beat Richmond at home. They
lost one game to West Coast.
Which was away.
Yeah.
Yes, they're playing at MCG. I don't get that. Here, it's probably not as bad as what the Port Adelaide one was with the Brisbane and the Bookies here, but I still think it's great value. Brisbane -5.5, or even pick your own line and go a little bit higher.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, let's get into the Saturday night game. One of 2 Saturday night games before Anzac Day Eve, I guess you could call it. Melbourne take on Richmond. This should be an absolute classic. They're touting it as the unbeaten team versus last year's premiers. Anything for some ratings there, Pez. $2.10 you can get Melbourne as the outsiders. 174 is Richmond favourites. -5.5. They love that 5.5. I think they just got a bit lazy there, to be honest. The over-under is 157.5, Pez. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, this is a very interesting game. Now, very similar to the Carlton-Brisbane in terms of odds, but very different in terms of their game and what's going to be happening. Now, Melbourne supporters are up and about. They're thinking that the team might be heading to the top 4, heading back to finals and trying to play off for that premiership. Now, this is very dangerous for Melbourne, I think, because Richmond, coming off 2 losses in a row, and then they smashed St Kilda by 86 points, and the pressure we saw was elite at Marvel. Now, Richmond don't usually do that pressure at Marvel Stadium. They show that pressure the best where? At the MCG. So I think that Richmond, if they show 70% of what they did against St Kilda in quarters 2 to 4, they'll beat Melbourne pretty comfortably here. Melbourne have been impressive. Max Gawn in the ruck, Christian Petrarca, their forward line. I don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to bring in Ben Brown? Are they going to bring in Wiedemann? I think they have to bring in Wiedemann, possibly for Mitch Brown, but I'm not sure they can bring in Ben Brown yet. They've already won 5 in a row. You don't want to muck anything up there. Stephen May is out as well. And
big out.
Richmond and with Rewald and Lynch down there. No Stephen May. I know Lever's been playing really well. but I think Richmond can get over the top of them, put that pressure in, and get those easy goals on the turnover. So I've gone Richmond minus 5.5, and I've put the max 50 on that as well.
Yeah, that's a great bet. I think that, the forward line troubles that Melbourne are going to experience in terms of trying to defend Richmond. I mean, Rewalt's in flying form. I mean, he picked up a couple of goals in junk time last week against St Kilda from about the second quarter onwards was junk time, I think, Pez. But, he's kicked 4, 1, 3, 5. Like, he's been on fire. And they've also got the other twin towers of Tom Lynch to deal with. May's a huge out for them. It is a big test for them, and I think that one of the things that we know that Melbourne do, unfortunately, is they show us glimpses of something awesome. And, last week was a really big win, and the week before was a really big win against the Cats, against the Hawks. This is the big test for them, and they will, Richmond will not have their guard down. They will be prepared for this game. And one man who absolutely was dominant last week is one of the men that I'm putting my
Cheeky
in the hands of, Pez. Do you know who that man is?
Who was dominant last week?
Yep.
Petrarca was dominant.
I'm talking the other way, mate. I'm talking the Richmond Tigers.
I fell asleep.
The most dominant player in the competition at the moment, the player that has the ability to put the game in his hand and win it off his own boot.
Or who's won games off their own boot and premierships in the last few years? Yeah, not sure.
Not sure? Well, you're an idiot. So I've gone a 4-leg same-game multi, and I'm putting all my trust in Dustin Martin. Dustin Martin to get 20 disposals. He'll get that in his sleep. He's a big game player. He loves absolutely dominating, and this is what he has, his spotlight. When he's winning games, when he's winning Norm Smiths, what else is he doing, Pez?
Kicking goals.
Kicking goals. I've got him for 2 or more goals. If you like that on your own, you can get that at 320.
For 2 goals?
2 goals.
Wow.
Him at 320, which is absolute bargain. I've also gone with Jakey Arts. He's kicked a goal in every game to kick a goal.
Yeah, always
and then
pops
I've
up.
gone with, this is probably the riskiest one I think there, considering I've got all these other ones and a nice little total for my cheeky. Caden McIntosh to get 15 or more. And the reason that he averages 14 disposals a game, but he really doesn't. He's had 13, 13, 13, nothing, 19. I think that they're going to dominate the game. I think that he's going to go into that midfield a little bit. He's going to come off that back line. I think he should get 15. That gives me odds at $9.20 pairs.
Yep.
And I've put my cheeky 10 on it.
Yeah, very nice. If Dustin Martin dominates, Richmond get the win. Camden McIntosh possibly there. Just for the punters out there that do bet on the disposal markets, sometimes you've got to look a little bit deeper than the averages. And that's why I think, Source, you mentioned the 13, 13, 0. A player could have got an injury, finished with 2 disposals, their average goes down, or their average is skewed because they had a 34 disposal game and then they had 18, 17, 18, 17. Mm-hmm. So they're not really a 20 disposal player, even though they average 22 disposals a game. So if you go just off average disposals, you probably end up losing more than you win.
Well, that's generally what Sportsbet, that's how they work it out. They just go straight off disposals, they just go straight off the averages, because it obviously gives them the best in their favour, the odds. And that's why you got to look at matchups, you got to look at who they've played, you got to look at when they got injured, like why did they only get 13, why did they get more than 15?
Who did they play, where did they play, what position are they playing, who's coming back into the team that's going to affect their midfield time. There's lots of factors to think about when making a disposals bet with that. In saying that, the game that probably won't get as much TV time as that one, Source, is Fremantle versus North Melbourne.
Yeah, that's correct, Pez. $1.08 favourites for Fremantle over at SBS Stadium. North Melbourne, the outsiders, $8.50. The line, again, plus 30.5. It's up to minus 43.5, and I expect that to continue to leak towards Fremantle's favour. Despite North Melbourne being not impressive, but they put up a bit of a fight last week against a really disappointing Geelong. Interesting that the line is minus 43.5, but the over-under total game points is 162.5. To me, that doesn't really line up. We've seen Fremantle pile it on before. They're playing at home. That Fremantle crowd, everything's in Fremantle's favour. You've got to be on the Dockers here, Pez.
Well, I'm not on the Dockers because of the price, and I've already played 2 max bets earlier on in the round, and I've got my multi coming up and things like that. So at $1.08, you can't really touch them for $1.08, but the line scares me a little bit. What's it at now? Is it 42.5?
43.5. It's going to continue to leak.
So it's still growing towards North Melbourne's favour and getting them more points on the board. You might play at a 40 plus market or an alternate line somewhere, but you saw lots of punters last week playing the 57.5 line against North Melbourne, and it didn't come out. They lost that by 27. Just the line they lost by 27. So very dangerous for me. And I don't know if I'm going to find something closer to the day, but not right now. I think Fife, Mundy in there will give Taberner, who's having another pretty good season considering Fremantle have had some pretty poor performances. He's very important focal point for them up there. And Luke Ryan would have got the 3 Brownlow votes last week. He was absolutely fantastic against Adelaide. Just no bet for me in this one. Fremantle to win pretty comfortably. Not sure by how much.
Yeah, I think Fremantle win pretty comfortably. You're right. The 43.5 is scary, especially when the two markets that you normally go for are the big win, little win, and that's 1 to 39. And for them to be 40 plus is 167, but then the line is 43.5. To me, it's too close for comfort. I don't like that. I think they probably get it done, and they possibly North Melbourne can get it back in the last couple of minutes. But at the same time, it could absolutely just leak because SBS Stadium could be rocking, and they could just pile on by 100 points. Too unpredictable for that one. I've got no bet in that game, but I think Fremantle do it easy.
Oh, and then we head into Anzac Day. We've got 3 Anzac Day games because it does fall on a Sunday.
We do, and it looks like it's going to be a good Anzac Day. Pairs up at dawn, and then you've got like a 5-hour break before the next game at 12:30, which is an unusual time for a Sunday game.
They did not want it to clash with
not at all.
The big Anzac Day.
Not at all. But we've got Hawthorn taking on Adelaide. 164 for Hawthorn, who are favourites. 226 for the Crows. Minus 8.5 is the line. Over under 167.5. Pairs, tell me what you're doing here.
Not so much what I'm doing in terms of betting, but as I've mentioned earlier, Tex Walker with the calf, I don't think they take him down there. Rory Sloane possibly still out and Crouch as well, so they're going to struggle in the midfield. Adelaide did well to win 3 games early on, but Fremantle being able to beat them last week over there was a great pickup if you jumped on their line or head-to-head or you picked Fremantle in your tipping. Hawthorn, yes, they got blown out in that fourth quarter last week against Melbourne, Source, but we know Melbourne have the better list and the better talent, and Hawthorn just had enough on that day by the looks of things. But down at Tasmania, Hawthorn do have the players. Jaeger O'Meara has looked impressive in the midfield, actually winning his own pill and getting the ball up forward. Luke Bruce is always dangerous up forward, and I think with just a couple of those players there, they'll be able to take care of Adelaide. If I was looking anywhere, I'd look at a Hawthorn head-to-head market around the $1.64 mark there, but I'm going to steer clear for the pod at the minute.
Yeah, I think that's the same sort of route I'm going. You don't know what Adelaide's going to turn up, and as I said earlier in the podcast, Hawthorn have been around in most games. They don't have the talent yet. They don't have the stamina to go with the whole team. I'm going to steer clear. I'd be probably looking, if anything, you might go maybe the 8.5. They could maybe get it done with no Tex Walker for Adelaide. He's probably been their best player, and the reason they've been in so many games, you'd say he's probably going to miss. That's probably where I'd make the play, Pez. So you're looking at Hawthorn for the win / maybe the line.
Yeah, the line, it's what, 9.5 or so?
8.5.
8.5. So it's going to go up and down around between 7 and 10. So you could make a play at the line, or the other one where you might find some value is the halftime full-time double. Hawthorn to lead at halftime and full-time. So
wire to wire maybe as well.
So see what that's paying and go from there. I don't think Adelaide keep up with them down there, even though Hawthorn are quite a poor side this season.
Yeah, all right, let's get on to the big Anzac Day class. The prime time, 3:20, Channel 7's not going to budge time slot, $1.75 for Collingwood, Essendon 2.10 outsiders. It's definitely coming in this one with the news of all the Collingwood injuries as well as Essendon being really underperforming. I would say this almost becomes a pick-em by Anzac Day. Minus 4.5 is the line and 167.5 is the total game points.
Yeah, tough game, this one. 5.5 the line again, eh?
4.5 it came in.
Came in 4.5?
Came in 4.5.
Oh, absolutely spewing, because my bet is on the line there. So I'll give that away. But Taylor Adams is a big loss to this Collingwood midfield. Jordan De Goey obviously misses through concussion, and Howe doing his hamstring last week. They're also missing Jamie Elliott, which doesn't really help them. Quick question, not related to that. The mobile phone incident from last week, Source. We haven't really discussed that. De Goey went and grabbed Howe's phone and his own when they were subbed out of the game, and it's against the AFL protocol.
My biggest concern for it is not the fact that they've grabbed the phone, it's the fact that they knew that the box would be open and the fact that they didn't even think twice before going down to the area. It more says about the Collingwood culture that we're slowly seeing unfolding, that over the last probably 2 or 3 years, the club is slowly declining, and it's not just on field, it is the off field. The actual incident itself, I don't have a big deal if the player is injured, messaging family members and going,
that's the argument.
Hey, I'm fine. But realistically, to me, the bigger issue is not that they grabbed it. It's the fact that 1, the box was unlocked. 2, they knew it was open. Like, they knew that they could go in there and have access. That's a bigger issue to me.
Yeah, playing away, you've surely got someone there. Nathan Buckley did come out and say, we're understaffed from COVID. I don't think you need a lot of staff to hold a locked
to lock a box and a key
phone and just hold it to the end of the match. But that's the argument for some people saying, who gives a shit if they got their mobile phone? They might be messaging their family, their girlfriend, their wife, whatever it is.
It is a big issue, I think. They can't have access to that.
And one of the reasons is because they've got intel to
100%.
the game and what's happening, and they could be messaging someone who could be placing bets or something like that if they're thinking straight and doing things like that. So they've had their fine. I'm sure no team will do that again, at least for the rest of the season. Essendon, they are missing players as well, Source. They're missing Draper in the ruck. Hurley is out indefinitely. You've got Jai Caldwell, who did his hamstring earlier on. He's still out. Ridley, who's huge, a big loss, which is swinging my bet. Dylan Shield is also out there. So those players within their best 22. And I've gone with Tab, Collingwood, -5.5 for $25. And I wish I'd had waited until we talked about the Hawthorn game, because I would have got him at 4.5.
So I've gone the opposite, Pez, but I've got one less point than you. I've gone Essendon +4.5. No, yeah, +4.5.
Yep.
So there's no way our bets can win here. Is that right? Is it like 0.5? No.
So you're +4.5, I'm -5.5. One of us is losing.
One of us is losing. So I've gone head-to-head with you, Pez, which
we could both lose.
Is dangerous for you. How can we both lose?
Well, Colin would win by 5.
No, but then you win.
No, I don't, because I'm -5.5.
Yeah, let's hope it's a draw and we both I win. So you lose.
If it's a draw, you win.
I don't care. I've got 25 on that one at what odds have I got here? Oh no, actually I've gone Essendon to win straight out. Sorry, my apologies. I've gone Essendon straight out.
Well,
to
that
win.
changed quickly.
$2.10, $25 on that one. No, I think that's great value. I agree that there are both teams are hit with injuries. Essendon, I think, have a lot more to play for, and for some reason they're still really hopeful of their season. And whereas Collingwood, I think, have sort of starting to lean into that rebuild. Whereas Essendon, for some reason, they're still very hopeful, despite being pretty poor earlier this year.
All right, so I just want to explain a little bit of why I'm actually on Collingwood here. I think Brodie Grundy has had big games in terms of hitouts, and Collingwood haven't been able to win that midfield battle. I think that they will need to step up and really do something about that. I know Jordan De Goey is a big loss. Jeremy Howe, not as big a loss as you would think, because he was actually missing all of last season and they've got people to cover him. Darcy Moore's actually, please play in defence. If you're going to play him forward and you're getting dominated in the second quarter by West Coast forwards, move him back, Bucks. Move him back. Don't take your pride in there as the coach. But that's one of the reasons I'm going for Brodie Grundy dominance in the ruck and Collingwood to kick a score that's 6 points or more bigger than Essendon.
Yeah, well, just while we're doing a bit of a why you picked them, I think you are correct in some of those, them needing to play big games, and then they have performed in big games, but I think the stats don't lie, Pez. I think, Essendon going a lot more into their inside 50, like almost 7 times more than Magpies. And they're only about, that sounds like a big market against the Demons, but they're only 9 off the Western Bulldogs, who are sitting second of inside 50s. They handle the pill pretty well. They've got some players that accumulate the pill quite well. They do lack goal-scoring ability, but I think both teams really lack goal-scoring ability. And I think that realistically, whoever's getting the ball in there more is going to have more opportunities, and that's been the straight reason for me going with Essendon.
Yeah, and fair enough. It's the big one, and it gets a little bit more airtime for the big Anzac Day clash there, and we've got a third Anzac Day clash.
We do have the third one. This one was played in, I think it was meant to be played in Shanghai, or was that what the...
where have we played? We played in New Zealand years ago.
Shanghai, China. You've played everywhere. But this one is going to be at Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide are playing St Kilda. Favourites to the Port Adelaide Power, $1.21. Outsiders, $4.45 with the Saints. The line -27.5. The bookies put a little bit more effort in Pez and haven't gone the 5.5. Over, under for the total game points is 168.5.
Yeah, the line's creeping out a little bit more towards Port Adelaide's minus margin. I don't think the Saints can win. I think Rowan Marshall and Zach Jones are rumoured to come back into the side, and St Kilda without Rowan Marshall have been absolutely shocking. But against a Port Adelaide side, the punters aren't going to do what they did for Carlton last week, and that'd be like making St Kilda favourites this week against Port Adelaide, what they did with Carlton last week. I think Port Adelaide win. I hope St Kilda can put up a fight. I've got a no bet there, and I look forward to my multi.
Yeah, I'm going to get straight into the multi-pairs. This is a nothing game for me. I think Port Adelaide win quite easy. The line is creeping out a little bit further. I would have liked it to be about more, maybe minus 24.5. I think that's more of a safer sort of line. So you might look at maybe an alternate line and get it down to like $1.50, maybe $1.70. But I think anything powered up with any multis you're doing, Port Adelaide at $1.21 to win, that'll just tip things off nicely.
Yep, and fair enough. All right, the multi, the big time sauce. I've put a 5-leg same game multi together with a few different things in it. I've gone that Brisbane minus 5.5 line that I love. I've put the Richmond minus 5.5 line, which I also love. I've put Sydney just to win head to head at $1.65. Fremantle just to win at $1.08. I don't think there's any chance that they actually lose that, so it boosts it by a whole dollar at the end after I put everything out.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And Hawthorn, I've put 1 to 39. I'm not sure if they can blow Adelaide out by 40 plus. I think they win. And 1 to 39 at 210. A little bit of value in there. I'll put $30 on that. The odds are $13.50 sauce. So that'll return $4.05 if that one gets up. It'll be a big round.
Wow. Jesus. I think you needed to pick this one, Pez.
Cheeky.
I was going to press the button, but I already did the cheeky.
That threw me off there, actually, because I just wasn't expecting those big odds, and you just casually went, yeah, I put 30 on it, don't care, that's fine. Money for jam, money for VBs. I've gone the similar sort of trend what I've been doing, Pez. It has been very close and has been working. I've gone a 5-leg, same game, same round multi, I guess, with all alternate lines, and they all are about 20.5. So Geelong 20.5, Sydney 20.5, Brisbane 20.5, Richmond 20.5, and Essendon plus 22.5. That gives me odds of 259 because I power played it and I've chucked 15 on that one.
There you go. You're liking that alternate lines, and you're probably putting the plus 20 on teams you think could possibly win.
Yes, most definitely. That's the play. That's the plan of attack. And
if they lose by 1 goal, 2
5
goals, 3 goals,
points?
you're all right.
That should be fine.
So it's good from there.
Pez, before you sign off and forget something else, I know that you try and get out of things all the time, and I am clawing my way back. So before we finish, we have changed the format a little bit for this show. We need to do our lines without our actual betting line. So we are in a bit of a tipping comp, you and I thought what we could do for this one is we could get into coin toss. No explanation. We've already gone through who we think is going to win. You just tell us the team and the line that you're going to be with. You think you can do that?
Oh, of course I can do that, Sauce. Last week, round 5, you didn't want to speak about that. You're going to try and gloss over that. I got 7 out of 9 lines, and you with a nice 4.
Yeah, I definitely we were even Stevens, and I fell behind 2 again. But this week, Pez, I'm feeling confident. 4 coin toss, I think I can make my way back.
Yeah, you think you can? You're 2 behind now, so you need to catch up to, Sauce. Start chasing.
It was a toss of the coin.
That 5 wins the toss.
Yes, it's been an unusual year for coin tosses.
Drives it beautifully. Ranger, big time again.
Big time again. That's going to be me this week, Pez. Let's get straight into things. Western Bulldogs versus GWS. The line is 19.5 towards the Bulldogs. What are you with?
Go the Dogs.
I'm with GWS, so I'm already going to be beating you. All right, Geelong playing West Coast. The line is 10.5 in favour of the Cats.
Eagles.
Cats. Oh, here we go. All right, Gold Coast playing Sydney. The line is minus 5.5 in favour of the Swans.
Sydney.
Oh, I suppose I'll go back-to-back with you. All right, so I'm going the Swans in that one. Carlton versus Brisbane. The line is minus 5.5 as the trend is for the next couple of games.
Brisbane, I reckon.
Yep, I'll take Brisbane 100% there. Melbourne versus Richmond. Minus 5.5 in favour of Richmond.
Tigers.
Fremantle versus North Melbourne. Interesting one, this one, Pez. Minus 43.5.
Fremantle.
Yeah, I think Fremantle can get that done, 43.5. I might just stay that one so I don't get 4 behind. All right, Hawthorn playing Adelaide, minus 8.5 in favour of the Hawks.
Yeah, I think it'll be a 1 to 39, as I said earlier in the show, but I've got to jump on the Hawthorn line and be barracking for them to have a good win.
Yeah, I think that one's an easy one, Hawthorn here. We already know our thoughts in this one, Pez. Collingwood playing Essendon, minus 4.5 officially. What's your line?
Collingwood.
And I'm with Essendon. All right, the last game of the round. Interested to hear your thoughts on this one. Port Adelaide playing St Kilda. The line is minus 27.5 in favour of the Power.
Yeah, Power win by 5+ goals.
Yeah, I'm with the Power as well. And that is coin toss, Pez, and that's a nice little... I'm feeling very confident walking away from that.
The little coin toss, huh? You've got a couple different against me in the first 2 games of the round, so try and get even Stevens again and then see how we go for the rest of the round. You might be able to pit me on Anzac Day.
I might be able to pit. Yeah, exactly right. Get up by 1. Maybe even 2. Did I hear that correctly? Maybe 2? No, I think it's just 1.
Yeah, just 1. You're three different, but you've got to get the first 2 sourced to be able to have that chance. Best of luck. Very hard to beat me. So we'll go from there. Enjoyed the show tonight. We've got the bets, which will be out on Twitter exclusively at Behind the Bound. Jump on board, give them a follow, like, whatever you need to do. And if you're listening to the podcast source, what do you need to do?
You need to make sure that you rate 5 stars and leave a comment. That's how other people can find us and we can start showing up in that ratings. Pez, still in that top 150 of AFL podcasts.
Yeah, I love it. 150 out of 150, we'll take it.
It's not out of 150. I think there's like 200 podcasts, all right? So we're at least better than 50 other podcasts.
There'd have to be over 200 AFL podcasts, wouldn't there?
Easily.
Anyway, good luck in your punting. I'm Pez. Peace out.
I'm still Sauce. We'll catch up next time, guys.